What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on these comments that Skip Bayless made about LeBron James as far as his legacy, right? And LeBron James now, people are saying that LeBron James is going to come back to the Lakers, and they're saying that in order for LeBron James to do that, he's going to have to take a pay cut, right? Which LeBron James has in his career, he's never taken a pay cut. So if LeBron James do take a pay cut in order to come back to the Lakers, that just tells me that he no longer has the leverage. Like now, they're probably going to try to frame it to where they saying, like LeBron James is giving the Lakers a break. When, like I said, throughout his entire career, he never gave any team a break. He always demanded the max and got the max, right? But now that he's coming down to the wire, and he need the Lakers just as much, if not more than what they need him, then he probably will have to give them a hometown discount, right? And so Skip Bayless spoke on this, and I want to play what Skip Bayless said, and then I want to come back and give some more input on and my response to what Skip Bayless said.
Okay, so now I'm hearing maybe LeBron would consider taking the veteran minimum to stay in Los Angeles. I'm like, why didn't he take it 8 years ago? Seriously, because I'm looking at the money he has made as a Laker. It's $347 million, and it just goes up. I'm looking at him 36, 37, 39, 41, 44, 48, 49, 53 million this year.
Very reasonable.
It's a lot of money.
Very.
And he is the ultimate box office, Hollywood as you can get. I got you. But he gave you an overall playoff record, if in fact it's over now, of 32-31 in his 8 years. 32-31. And since that Mickey Mouse championship that they won in the bubble.
Hardest one in NBA history.
Yeah.
That's up there. It's up there. It's at Disney World.
Yeah, 16-26 is LeBron's playoff record since the bubble. 16-26, that is the worst playoff winning percentage in all of basketball since the bubble. Okay, so now.
All right, so one thing I want to point out, right? Michael Jordan, throughout his NBA career, like Michael Jordan was never like the top player in the NBA, maybe his last 2 years, but throughout the years, Michael was so focused on just winning and playing basketball that he never really had any contract disputes with Chicago, right? And so he got his money on the back end. Like I said, those last 2 years, those last two championships at Chicago, I think each one of those years he got like 30 million each year, right? And that was crazy money for back then, right? And and I saw like Tom Brady did the same thing. Like Tom Brady would give the team a discount and a break so he could, so they could have like the right talent around him. But LeBron James was more so focused on his money, which is not a bad thing. But so he got all his money up front, and now at the end of his career, I think that's going to come back and bite him. He made all his money up front, and I think at the end of his career, that's going to come back and bite him. And then on top of that, when you do business the way Mike did throughout his career, you build relationships, and you show people that like you're somebody. I think people respect that more when you do stuff like that, when you build business like that. Now, you could be a selfish person and a selfish player, but it don't really come off like that because it shows people that you're about getting the job done first, and then later on you expect to be rewarded, right? Same thing with Tom Brady. Like, let's get the job done first, and then I make my money on the back end. And as an entrepreneur myself, I've done business like that, and that business model has paid off, especially early on in my business when I didn't have the experience or the contact or the contacts and the connections in order for me to demand, a higher amount. So I was, I had to prove myself. And then once I got to a certain level, then I was able to go up a little bit on my prices or ask for a little bit more. But LeBron James, I think the way his business model, the way he did it, I think is he got his money up front, like I said, and I think it's going to bite him not just at the end of his basketball, like the end of his basketball career, but moving on into other genres or other areas of business. Because all throughout his NBA career, he could have taken those 23 years that he played in the NBA and built relationships and friendships that would benefit him after his NBA career. And that's what you see. That's what's going on with a lot of guys right now who played in the NBA and guys who played in the NFL. Like Mike is still with Nike. Charles Barkley and Shaq, those guys are, they're still on, they got the network. They on the, what is it, TNT or one of those networks, one of those networks, man. So if like I said, I like that business model, because if you do right, I think at the beginning, then it'll pay off in the long run. If LeBron James don't have the relationships and you take advantage and you use all of your leverage up at the beginning, or you don't use your leverage in the correct way, then later on it's going to come back to bite you. And I think that's what, we are going to see really soon with LeBron James, because all of LeBron James's leverage is connected to the NBA. And so as long as he's no longer playing, once he's no longer playing, he won't have the same amount of leverage. And going into the business world, you have to have relationships. You just can't go into the business world. You say, well, all right, LeBron James is worth like $2.5 billion. That don't really mean anything, in the business world, because you have other billionaires and other millionaires who are going to be competing in the same arena, no matter what arena that LeBron James try to go into after his basketball career. It's going to be a lot of competition. And so the fact that he was an NBA basketball player and, he got championship rings and stuff like that, people don't care about that. Businessmen, they don't care about that. They're not going to be, in awe of what he did on a basketball court. They think he was Jordan. I mean, he was LeBron on the court. They think that they are LeBron in the business world. And these guys, if you don't have a relationship with them, they can basically just freeze you out. And so even as a billionaire, they can relegate you to being no more than just a consumer. And people don't understand that, right? It's not like LeBron James can take, all right, well, I'm a billionaire, I can go start my own business. If they don't let you play in the game with them, then you're not going to be able to make no money. And it's just as simple as that. Now, you could go and you can start a small business, but that small business, even a successful small business, is not going to be able to maintain the lifestyle that he has been able to become accustomed to as somebody who is a billionaire. Right. So yeah, you can go and you can start a small business, but that's not what he needs. He's going to need to be able to make this close to the same amount of money and maintain that lifestyle and that living. And you can't do that independently. I know a lot of people who don't know about business think that you can do that independently without having contacts, without having relationships, business relationships with other wealthy people, and you can't do it. The market don't work like that. It definitely don't work like that. And so, yeah, some of the decisions that LeBron James made on the court while he was a basketball player is going to become, they're going to come back to bite him. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. With that being said, I'm gonna check you all out in the next video. Peace.